to learn, but many parents will find themselves explaining the meaning to their children as they ask. When younger kids without the best speech skills repeat these lines, it can sound a lot like the original phrase. This can create a lot of awkward situations, especially in public areas or at school. The Incredibles are busy. When Pixar took on the superhero genre, it delivered on every front, and fans still love The Incredibles to this day. Along with great heroes and a rich story, one of the film's highlights was the main villain's syndrome. With a backstory that connected to Mr. Incredible, the villain felt realistic and helped raise the stakes in the film. He also provided some of the best one-liners in the movie, but one of them may have your children asking a lot of questions. At one point in the film, Syndrome manages to catch the whole family inside of an electric force field trap. It's during this time where he discovers that the whole Incredible family is fighting together as superheroes. He appears surprised that Mr. Incredible married Elastigirl and even more shocked that they had children, referring to the couple as getting busy.
Married Elastigirl? Oh, and got busy!
The phrase is as innocent as they come, but some clever children may pick up on it and start asking exactly what the busy part means. The innuendo in the scene only adds to quick clips earlier in the film where Bob trains to get back in shape. Along with husband and wife butt pinching, the couple can be seen running off to their rooms for a little alone time. Crushed to death in Beauty and the Beast. It's pretty safe to say that Beauty and the Beast is one of the more dark and violent Disney animated films. Between the Beast's anger, wolf attacks, and Gaston's violence, there's a lot of intense scenes for children. The animated film features Gaston's death, but the fall into oblivion is nothing compared to a death scene that occurs just minutes earlier. In one of the more comical scenes, all of the citizens in Belle's village get into a big brawl with the cursed furniture, plates, and other items in the giant castle. One of the characters that gets involved in the fight is the giant wardrobe that lives in Belle's room. Launching herself off an upper balcony, the wardrobe comes crashing down onto one of the poor citizens involved in the fight. We're guessing that it was over 100 pounds of solid wood that crushed the man into the elegantly designed marble floor. The violent death doesn't cut away either. When we return to the scene, we can still see the crushed body waiting to get taken to the morgue. While a lot of the violence played off like cartoon fun, this death was painful and gruesome to watch. Now is a good time to start explaining murder, manslaughter, and the criminal justice system to your children. The Not-So-Good Dinosaur. For the release of The Good Dinosaur, the filmmakers tried to toss in every emotion possible. This includes babies being born, families bonding, families getting torn apart, and the building of an unlikely friendship. As the sappiness was featured in scene after scene, the animators also managed to sneak in a few risque jokes along the way. One of them can have the children repeating bad words, and the other can have them questioning items in your liquor cabinet. The first scene takes place early in the film when Arlo and his dinosaur family are feeding chickens. The character of Buck obviously doesn't like the chickens too much as he starts screaming out that he's going to get the little cluckers as soon as he enters their pen.
Alright, you cluckers, you're about to get
A few mispronounced syllables and your children could be saying a pretty vulgar term. Later in the film, Arlo and Spot decide to eat some old fruit which clearly fermented into wine. Moments later, the drunk children are seeing hallucinations and making it seem like fun to get drunk. Moments later, they are frolicking through fields and apparently black out as they awake in a random location, dazed and confused. Nothing like teaching hangover treatments at a young age.
What'd I tell you? Ain't this a swell joint?
Smoking scenes in classic Disney films. When an animated movie is released to the masses, it represents the society at the time and may include references or images that are not so well accepted in this day. One of the worst examples of this is characters that have smoked in Disney films. Sure, it may make Hades or Cruella de Vil look more evil when they are smoking a cigarette or cigar, but those are images that would never make the cut in modern-day animation. Giving a villain something to smoke is one thing, but it becomes a lot worse and awkward for parents when their children are viewing heroic characters smoking on the screen. In the 1940 Disney film Pinocchio, the wooden hero smokes a cigar while spending time on Pleasure Island. 13 years later, Peter Pan spent some time on Neverland smoking pipes with the Native Americans. Even Alice experienced some secondhand smoke while visiting the hookah-loving caterpillar. The crazy part about all of those examples is that each one of those characters were underage and actively involved in some type of smoking. Instead of making live-action remakes, maybe Disney should re-edit some of the animated classics to remove these smoking references for the sake of parents.
Oh, that's tender! My house is right over there!
So much for relying on the government.
Monster House. Monster House is a great children's film that doesn't get the credit that it deserves. It has a unique plot, features a lot of nostalgic elements, and the dialogue between characters is brilliant. However, there is one questionable exchange that could confuse children and force parents to give out an anatomy lesson. When the kids finally go inside of the evil house, they realize that all of the rooms and areas are representative of a human body. The main area of the home represents the human mouth, and the characters create a gag reflex when they shoot water guns at the uvula. Jenny figures out that the dangling lights are the uvula, but the term just confuses Chowder. It makes him believe that the house is female and only females have uvulas. During this scene, he is clearly talking about the female body part known as the vulva, or the uterus.
Oh, so it's a girl house.
What? No, it stimulates the gag reflex. Everyone has a uvula.
After seeing this scene, the joke may go over a lot of children's heads, but some children will start asking about the difference between the uvula and the parts that a girl has. Thankfully, the scene takes place during an intense part of the film, and the children may be too scared to pick up on it.
Psst, your line is, I'm going to free the genie. Anytime.
Aladdin visits a brothel. Disney films are colorful adventures that take place in all different types of worlds. While stories are typically purely fiction, many people scrutinize the way that various lands, people, and historical events are portrayed on the big screen. In Aladdin, the story takes place in a fictional land known as Agrabah. Even though the city is fake, it is supposed to represent the Middle East and takes a lot of inspiration from there. Some of the details included in the film help make it come to life, but they may have taken things a little too far by including a brothel. The brothel in Agrabah is introduced in the story just a few minutes after the film is started. During the song, One Jump Ahead, Aladdin steals a loaf of bread and must evade a group of palace guards chasing him down. At one point, he dives into a window where 3 women dance and prepare themselves. The women are clearly disgusted at the poor Aladdin. The main reason for this? He's too poor to pay for any of their brothel services. Aladdin is eventually shooed away by their boss, but the scene lasts long enough to make children wonder why these 3 women are dressed so nicely and living all together.
Of course, monsieur, you're welcome here.
The two-timing Lumiere. While watching the original Beauty and the Beast, it is clear that the candlestick named Lumiere is some type of ladies' man. He clearly has a relationship with the feather duster named Fifi, but she alludes to him hitting on multiple women. By the end of the original film, Fifi and Lumiere reunite as humans, but that's not the end of the story. In the direct-to-video sequel entitled Beauty and the Beast: The Enchanted Christmas, the story takes place during the events of the first film. This is why it's so odd that Lumiere decides to celebrate the holidays by rekindling a romance with a holiday decoration by the name of Angelique. The womanizing candle kisses the tree topper, professes his feelings for her, all the while ignoring Fifi during the holidays. The whole situation becomes even stranger with a third film in the franchise entitled Belle's Magical World. A story in the film named Fifi's Folly took place around the same time and involves the duster celebrating her 5-year anniversary with Lumiere. Anyone watching a Beauty and the Beast marathon can clearly see Lumiere's womanizing ways and how he will pretty much let anyone be his guest. Poor Fifi. Monsters, Inc. Strange Family Connections. When we're introduced to Boo in the original Monsters, Inc., there's not much information given about her family or home life. The sweet little girl builds a connection with Sully and Mike, but her backstory is pretty much left out of the film. For kids trying to watch and find Boo clips online, they may be disturbed at some of the results. For many years, a clip has been spread around that supposedly showcases a drawing that Boo made of her Uncle Roger and mother in a compromising position. Thankfully, the drawing was a fake and made for a contest, but that still doesn't mean the franchise is free from any strange family connections. In the Monsters, Inc. sequel, Monster University, we meet a ton of new characters that join the same fraternity as Mike and Sully. Don is one of the original fraternity brothers and quickly befriends Scott, before declaring that he's going to marry his mother, Sherry. Don then proclaims that he is going to be his big brother who's marrying his mother, among other quotes about the situation. The line goes by quick, but is strange enough for children to start questioning what incest and mixed families actually are.
People take children to a place of business? Why?
Because it's awesome.
Disgusting.
Boss Baby. the whole movie. When the trailer for Boss Baby first hit, it looked like an amusing romp featuring a little baby in a suit. After seeing the movie, there are a lot of weird and strange things that happen throughout the whole movie. Other films may have some questionable scenes, but this one has scene after scene after scene. There's drugged pacifiers, an evil villain that wants to rid the whole world of babies, and 2 children with absolutely no parental supervision. Things only get worse when the Boss Baby and his older brother venture off on a trip to Las Vegas. During a scene with a bachelorette party, it appears that Tim drinks a Long Island iced tea. Now that's a lot different than your typical juice box. Near the end of the film, the parents get drugged, all memories of Boss Baby are erased from the home, and the parents forget that they even had a second child. Thankfully, the movie hints that the whole story was all in Tim's imagination. Otherwise, it would be too tough to handle and present a very strange view of where babies and children actually come from. Unfortunately, Boss Baby 2 has been greenlit, giving parents 90 more minutes of strange scenes to explain to their kids. Wow, there you have it. What scene do you think is the most awkward? How would you explain them to your children? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome